Giants never sleeps. This is the new series that we are busy with, and we are busy today with part 2. I really hope that you've watched part 1, the first topic that was called Will It Ever End? And today I want to talk about something in the same line, but a bit different. I don't know if you've ever had a dream where you feel powerless. Like, for instance, something is chasing you and you're just not running. I really hate that feeling of where you're dreaming and you're just freezing up and you're doing nothing. Your head is telling you to run, but physically you're standing still or whatever it is. I hate that feeling and that sense that you get of powerlessness. I really hate that. That's just not who I am. You know, you wake up and you're like, oh, you know, you're just about angry at yourself, like, why am I dreaming? Didn't I run or attack this thing? Or, you know, I don't know if you're that type of person that freezes up, but I'm the type of guy that freezes up when something bad happens. Or sometimes I react a bit too quickly, you know, in a harsh way. But I hate the sense of freezing up. I really hate that. And I don't know if you've ever felt that feeling, and if you agree with me about that feeling of just powerlessness. Like, there's just nothing you can do about it. What is happening, it's out of your hands, and there's nothing that you can do about it. I hate it. Especially, you know, when you see a friend or someone going through a real tough time in a storm, mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever it might be, you see people going through something, and you know that there's just nothing that you can say or do that will help them. This is the storm they're riding out. They got to ride it out. This is their storm, and you want to be there for them, but you know, like I said, doesn't matter what you say, or not that it doesn't matter, but it just feels like you can say what you want. You just feel so, you know, even words can't help this person. And I hate it because you feel so powerless. You want to do something for them, but there's just nothing that you can do for them. And that is just an awful feeling. You know, and when you're trying to help someone and they just won't listen to you. Oh man, I've got this little girl, our daughter. Man, she's 3 years old now, and she wants to do everything for herself. And I'll explain to her, like, do it this way or do it that way, and then she just doesn't listen, and it's always a mess. Most of the times it ends up in a mess. And you're like, really? But let's take it a step bit harsher. Sometimes you know someone or marrying the wrong person, dating the wrong person, constantly making the wrong decisions, and you just want to help them, but you feel so powerless because they just don't listen to you. They just don't listen to what you've got to say. They're just like, yeah, sure, and they just do their own thing and end up getting hurt again. And you know what they're doing is bad for them, but there's just nothing you can do. Doesn't matter how much or how many times you talk to them, they just won't listen to you, and they'll just keep on doing their own thing. And that feeling, I think most parents have that feeling where their children, we got to speak to your child and like, listen man, you know, watch out for this in life and watch out for that in life, and then boom, they go ahead and do exactly that. You know, for me, I know many times my dad would say, yes, you know, Darby, son, watch out for these things in life and watch out for that. And then you're so curious as a young person, you want to try it yourself, or you forget, or you just don't care, you know, it's you in your own bubble, in your own world. And now for me being a parent, you know, in that sense, you start to feel like so powerless, and you know, it doesn't matter how much you talk to them or explain it to them, they're going to make their own decisions, their own choices, and that powerless feeling I just absolutely hate. And especially when someone's going through a physical, you know, they're physically going through a tough time, you know, they're ill, they're sick, and the doctors are doing everything they can, you know, and there's just nothing you can do for it. Or they're going through a financial crisis, and you're doing everything you can to get work and stuff like that, but they're just powerless, you know, they gotta, you know, something's gotta happen, and everything you're trying just doesn't work out, or just comes to, you know, be. And I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling so much. But I know there's a guy in the Bible, there was a few guys, but I want to talk about this one guy that was in a space where he also felt so powerless that he did one thing, and I really think that this is something beautiful. He goes into a prayer, and I'm going to read out the book of Job. And so this is the prayer Job does just before God blesses him. Now, if you don't know the story about Job, just go read the book of Job. There's a beautiful book where Job lost everything. His daughters, his farms, his houses, everything. He was a rich guy. And he lost everything, and his friends started to tell him to deny God, because God is, he was always so faithful to God, and how can God let this happen to him? But Job always stayed faithful to God. And because of that, God blessed him twice as much the second time. He had twice as much camels, twice as much, daughters and stuff like that. So God blessed him, but it happened after this prayer. And listen to this prayer. I'm going to read it for you. And it's in Job 42, verse 2, let's say. It says, then Job answered the Lord, I know you can do everything. You make plans and nothing can change or stop them. You asked, who is this ignorant person saying these foolish things? I talk about things I did not understand. I talk about things too amazing for me to know. You said to me, listen and I will speak. I will ask you questions and you will answer me. In the past I heard about you, but now I have seen you with my own eyes. And I am ashamed of myself. I am so sorry. As I sit in the dust and ashes, I promise to change my heart and my life. And this prayer that Job does right at the end of everything that's happening to him, he gets to this place where he does this prayer. And this is a prayer of total surrender. Job gets to this place where he's just done, he's tired, he's battle after battle, he's been through a lot. He didn't give up hope, but he gives this prayer of total surrender. And he says, God, I now totally surrender to you. I surrender to your plans. I submit to your plans. And I just pray, change my heart. And this is a beautiful verse. It says, I know you can do everything. This is verse 2. You make plans and nothing can change or stop them. He just reminds himself in a prayer that God is in control. That God makes plans and nothing will stop those plans from happening. And this is a beautiful thing, is where you might get into a space where you sometimes feel like everything that I've tried just doesn't want to work out. It just doesn't want to happen for me. I've tried a million things, and just as it looks like it's busy, coming through for me, it just doesn't come through the way I hoped for it would happen. And this is a really sad space to be, because then you feel that sense of powerlessness, because you're running out of ideas, and you're running in a sense out of the strength to just try the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. All of your capacity of energy that you had is just drained out of you. You're fighting and you're fighting and you're fighting, but eventually it just feels like you're just digging a hole deeper and deeper and deeper. And you get that sense of powerlessness, of what am I doing? And everything I've tried just doesn't want to work out. And so Job gets to that space where he says, I know you can do everything, God. I know you can do everything. You make plans and nothing can change or stop them. Nothing can change or stop them. But here's the very important thing he says. He says, God, you make plans. And this is the very beautiful part and the very sad part. Most of the times we make plans and we just go on and just shoot for the stars and hope for the best. But there's a little piece that we miss with our plans, and it comes in Proverbs 16 verse 3 in the Amplified. It says, commit your works to the Lord, submit and trust them to Him, and your plans will succeed if you respond to Him, to His will and guidance. Hear this: commit your works to the Lord. Commit your works. Commit, submit your plans to God. Say, God, this is the situation. This is what I believe we should do. God, what do you say about this? And let God give you the wisdom. Because here's the beautiful thing. It says, commit your plans to the Lord. Submit and trust them to Him. And your plans will succeed if you respond to Him, to His will and guidance. Are you responding to God's guidance and His will for your life? Or are you just constantly making plans and just constantly trying to get out of this hole and do things? Or you're so busy and occupied with your own ideas of what to do that you never get to that space where you just silence yourself and says, God, I'm sitting at your feet and I'm giving my plans over to you. I'm submitting all of my plans, all of my dreams, everything. I submit it to you and I say, God, give me the guidance and show me your will within these plans. What is your will? What is your guidance? And then you follow that step by step as God gives it to you. But many times we just go with our own will and we go with our own plans and we never submit it to God and hear what His thoughts are about it and His guidance are about it. We are children of God. We don't just run off and do our own thing. You got to remember, there's a Father that has predestined your destiny, your future, and He's already in tomorrow. He's busy working it out. But if you don't have that time where you sit down with God and ask Him for His will and His guidance over your life, then you're going to miss what God has planned and predestined for you because you're so busy running short left and He wanted you to go straight. And then you missed that. And that's a very sad part. And that's when you start to feel helpless and powerless because you're so busy running your own direction that you miss God's will and guidance in your life. And when Job comes, he says, God, I submit my plans now to you. I surrender my plans. I surrender my life. I surrender everything of me to you. And I say, God, whatever you plan, it will come to pass. That's so beautiful. And then a very important thing that Job comes and he says in the last piece of his prayer, he says, I promise to change my heart and my life. So first, in the beginning, he reminds himself and God that God, you make plans and whatever your plans are, nothing can stop it. Great. So he's building his faith. The rest of the prayer, he comes to a total surrender and then he ends it with I promise to change my heart and my life. So when you're in that space where you feel totally numb and you feel powerless, the first thing you got to do is surrender to God completely. All of your plans, just submit it to God and just say, God, I just submit every nice idea, every plan, everything I had, I just submit it to you and I'll wait on you to give me the guidance what to do. Surrender to God totally. Surrender your life to God and let Him show you. And then the second thing is your heart. Your heart is a very important thing. Believe it or not, but the fight that the devil is putting up in your life is for your heart. Not your brain, not anything else. It's for your heart because your heart is your soul. And God says in Proverbs 4 verse 23, He says, above all else, guard your heart. For everything you do flows from it. Everything you do flows from your heart. So if your heart is corrupt, you won't even realize that you're busy doing things led not by God, but by a corrupt heart. And what is behind corruption? The devil is behind corruption. So you might think that what's going on in your heart might be pure and perfect for you until God shows you there might be some evil behind everything. And that's why it says guard your heart. And He says, I promise to change my heart and my life. When your heart changes, your life changes. Alright? When you surrender everything, You got to surrender your heart, meaning everything that's in you, everything. What's going on in your heart? Is money controlling your heart? Is jealousy? Is power controlling your heart and your decisions? What is controlling your heart? What is your heart full of? Envy? Unforgiveness? I don't know. But whatever it is, whatever controls your heart, whatever your heart is full of, at the end of the day, rules your life. If God is not in your heart, if God's fullness and love is not in your heart, you will struggle to hear God, because you'll only hear some other voices. The voices your ears learn to listen to, and only listen to and pick up. Your ear tunes into that frequency of envy. It can hear it. It looks out for other people that's the same as you in that sense. And it surrounds you with the wrong crowd, and it corrupts you even more. And if your heart is corrupted, your plans are corrupted. And then yes, you are powerless, because the power of God is there not in you. For if the love of God is not in you, the power of God is not in you, God himself is not in you, because God is love. Then we miss God. And the fight is for your heart. The storms, the giants, everything. Every fight the devil picks with you, it's for your heart. Because he knows if he can corrupt your heart just the slightest, it will slowly but surely turn. Or faith against God, trust in God, it will disappear. You'll start trusting yourself, your own plans, leaving your own understanding, and then you will start to put God aside, and it'll be like, God, just bless me, bless my ideas. No, submit your ideas, and then listen to God. He might kick some of those ideas out of the door, because it's not part of his plan and will for your life, and they might just hurt you very badly, but you won't see that. Only God does, because he sees tomorrow. And so your heart is where the fight, and what the fight is going on, and that's also where the fight is. It's in your heart and in your head. There's a constant fight and a battle, because you're thinking it through, and there's this battle between your heart, what your heart wants, and what your head tells, and what God is telling you. There's a lot of voices. I don't know about you, not all men, but most men, we cannot, I'm sorry guys, I'm really sorry about this, but we cannot multitask. So listening to three voices and yourself, that's confusing. Alright, that's really, that's confusing. And then your wife, alright, nothing wrong with that, but I mean, it's just a lot of voices. So, you got to quiet yourself. Jesus, he would go to the mountain and quiet himself and calm himself, and he learned to tune in to hear God and submit his works to God, and it's God's will revealed to him and show him what to do. In Psalms 51:10, it says, create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. If your heart is corrupt, your spirit won't be steadfast on God. It will not lean on God. It will not trust God. But if your heart is pure and it's connected to the Father, I don't care if you're lying on the ground, beaten up, barely breathing, don't have an inch of energy in you to fight, but within you, you still trust God. You know God is faithful. You still have faith in the Father. Your heart is guarded by his love. Then I want to say to you, you are winning the battle. Even though it feels that you're out of strength, out of ideas, on the ground, feel like you don't have the strength to get up, you are winning. Why? Because your heart is guarded. Your heart is pure. Your heart belongs to God. And that means that whoever is against you, There's nothing stronger than God. There's nothing stronger than His love that re-energizes us. There's nothing better than the wisdom than God's wisdom. There's just nothing better than that. So if you're lying on the ground, but your hope is still in God, and your heart is still pure, I want to say to you, you're still winning the battle. Because here's the beautiful thing Jesus said. In John 16:33 says, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome this world. Jesus said it. He explained to His disciples, guys, on this earth, you will constantly feel trampled over. You'll constantly feel like you fight in a battle. You'll be constantly stoned, stabbed in the back. You'll constantly feel like you lose in the battle, tired of fighting. But take heart. Do you hear what Jesus is saying? Take heart, not head. Don't take head. Don't think about this. Take heart, meaning take trust and hope in the one that created you, the pure heart. Trust and lean on Him. Trust in Him and know that He has overcome this world for you and me. And that whatever is against you will not prosper. But God is for you. His plans that He has created for you will come to pass. You will see it happen. If, and Job says this. Let me go back. In Proverbs 16 verse 3 says, if you respond to His will and guidance. If you respond to His will and guidance. And so today my prayer is for you. If you're in that space where you feel powerless, then there's one thing that you can do, and it's the only thing you ever should do. And that's go on your knees, pray, surrender to God, submit your plans to God, and seek His will and seek His guidance in your life, and you will bear much fruit. You will see God's plans come in action, come in reality for you, come to life for you. You'll see it happening in front of you. So lean on your understanding. You are not powerless, but you have the power of God in you. You got the Holy Spirit power in you. You are not powerless. So don't ever let the devil make you feel powerless. You have power if your heart is guarded and it leans on God. I want to leave you with this today. So God bless you and keep safe.